Edgar Wright says, Can't Man to AntMan, the Fantastic Four is disappearing faster than the Invisible Woman, and the Guardians of the Galaxy cast its villain 2 months before release. Has Marvel gone mad?
And what would you do if you had $1 billion? I'd start a Twitter feed.
Plus our Geek of the Week. That's right, it's Moron versus Fanboy. Hey, all right, we are back. We took a little time off. Welcome to Moron vs. Fanboy. I am Lon Lopez from MoronLife.com.
And I am Derek McCaw from FanboyPlanet.com.
We are two self-styled
pop culture experts waiting for our chance to direct AntMan.
Oh, I know. It's so exciting. There's so many things going on. I love it. How you been, Derek? We've been gone a while.
Clearly, I missed the rhythm of things. I'm so sorry. It's been out of it. You started that whole new beginning, and it just threw me
right?
off.
Well, we're trying.
I was off at a retreat studying conjunctions and their usage.
Were you at the conjunction junction, though?
I was. No.
How's the function?
Not as clear as I'd like it to be, but I'm getting old.
Bummer. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we had, I think, in between, we shoot Moron versus Fanboy on Monday nights, and so in between there, we had a holiday. We had some work stuff we couldn't get through.
And we had Big Wow. And
we had Big Wow,
and that was where you won an award. I'm going to call it out. You won the famous Monsters of Filmland Best Animated Short Subject?
Best Animated Short, yes. The famous Monsters of Filmland for our short, The Setback. Check it out on... you can go to thanksbutnothanksproductions.com to check it out, or find it on YouTube, I think.
Or you can find it on Fanboy Planet. I've posted it several times.
Yes, that is true. Or MoronLife.com.
My son loves it.
Before we get started, we also have to talk about, we've had a couple viewer emails. You had one. Do you want to bring it up real fast?
Unfortunately, I don't have it on my phone, and so...
do you remember the name, or... Let's just, anonymous viewer wrote in.
I'll correct it the next time we do this, and I apologize, but someone who actually was watching a rerun when we were talking about the Century Dome closing.
Save the Dome movement, yeah.
Yes, and so she was really grateful for the comments about the importance of art in the community and looking for places to get involved in downtown in the arts scene and what's the community like. And so I was kind of, I liked that something where we actually got serious, got some serious, thoughtful response. And so very grateful for that. Felt like, hey, we might actually be accomplishing something.
You're kind of like, I got this important email to Moron versus Fanboy.
Of all things. I know, it's an awkward name, but you're the one who called it MoronLife. So
it's because we bring you more on life.
No one gets that.
I know, right? It's all right. It's subversive. Anyways, I also had contact from a viewer.
Did you? I didn't hear this.
Mr. Mike Mendoza, who's actually a friend of mine, but he wrote in, and because of Mike's comments, we have upped our production value. He was tired of us popping our peas, so we've now added pop filters to all our microphones. So
it's a challenge.
So there you go, Mike. Hope you like it. Anyways, but yeah, no, Mike's a fan. He watches with his kids. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you're watching.
Children watch this?
Well, they're like preteens. So
children watch this?
Yeah, I mean, okay. Mike's a good dad. At least for the most part. So anyways.
I keep my kids away from you.
Well, you just said your son watched The Setback.
I know,
and he's a huge
you're right.
fan.
I'm a horrible father.
Strike one for me. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about this week, and we teased it in the cold open. I hope you appreciated that. Did that make it more exciting for you guys at home? But anyway, let's go to
the cheapest way of upping production values
is
cold
theatrics.
Opens.
Yes. All right, let's talk. Let's go to our cover story and find out what the heck we're talking about. It's kind of cool that our cover story logo or graphic is a universe exploding.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
Because it's almost like the Marvel universe is exploding.
The Marvel cinematic universe,
well, there's part of the whole just empire is maybe showing a little cracks. I don't know. We're going to talk about it tonight, but a lot of stuff went on in the last few weeks. But more importantly, most recently in the last couple weeks, a lot of developments in the Marvel Studios, Marvel Comics empire have kind of developed. And the biggest one, the most shocking one, and you've probably, if you're a fan of the stuff, you've probably heard, and if not, this will be news. But famed director Edgar Wright, and he's more of a current, like, contemporary director, right?
Well, he's been famous for the 21st century. Started with
Shaun of the Dead.
Well, actually, a cult television series called Space.
Oh, Spaced, right?
And Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, as well as
Scott
Pilgrim
yeah.
versus the World. I got stuck in the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah.
But there's been other stuff. Yeah, he's been.
Now, the thing that I think a lot of fans. And let's go to the news first. I was going to make a point, but let's go to the news first. The news is that it was just announced last week that Edgar Wright has left the AntMan movie that everyone's been excited and talking about.
Well, I want to say, after 8 years
of
developing that script with Joe Cornish, and to say, before Iron Man came out, it was actually Edgar Wright was involved with this project before Marvel Studios had even decided that they were going to create this cohesive, coherent universe.
Right. And the thing is were you at Comic-Con at that announcement?
Yeah.
Was that, and that was, because I remember Edgar Wright came out with Jon Favreau, and that was when they announced Iron Man and they announced Ant-Man at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it was weird to see Edgar Wright and Favreau sitting right there next to each other, talking about their visions for the movies and everything else.
Well,
and 4 years later, or whatever it was, Iron Man got made, or was it 2 years? I don't remember.
2 or 3, but I mean, I've been in several press conferences for Edgar Wright, and that question always comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and finally last summer, I believe, was when they showed the proof of concept footage of Ant-Man running down a hallway, shrinking down, punching a couple of guys, and then going back to regular size. So it wasn't whoever it was just a stuntman, but it was proof, and they showed it on that Marvel
that panel,
building the universe.
Oh, yeah, they showed
special.
clips. They didn't show the whole thing, but
most
highlights,
of it, because there's not that much to it.
Right.
But he had proven he could do it, and so that was, everybody assumed once The World's End was done, this is it. He's moving forward. A lot had been happening on it, and then suddenly, boom! I'm walking off.
But also, though, let's look back too. When he was brought on, there wasn't an Avengers. There wasn't even an Iron Man. So Marvel Studios wasn't even proven. I think at that point there had only been Blade and maybe X-Men and
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Tobey Maguire
so
Spider-Man.
I mean, for a young studio to pick, this kind of edgy British director who had a couple hits, it was a risk. It was a gamble, which we love Marvel Studios for. Mm-hmm. But a lot has changed in 8 years. I mean, you've got 3 Iron Man movies, an Avengers movie, 2 Captain America. I mean, so they've definitely now have a little leg, have a little strength, have a little, let's say, confidence and bravado.
It's hard to know what really went on, but it is clear that, like, say, Thor, the first Thor was directed by Kenneth Branagh, quite an auteur, a Shakespearean, well-known Shakespearean actor, and director. And the sequel, The Dark World, was directed by, I believe the man's name was Alan Taylor, who had done some work on Game of Thrones, who had proven himself on television.
Right.
And then when you realize that Captain America, the Winter Soldier, which is arguably the best...
The better one, yeah.
One of the better of the movies, period.
Oh, sure.
Was directed by 2 guys who had done Community.
Right.
I think when Marvel is getting into this point now where it's like, well, it's maybe not the directors, it's the content,
it's the story,
and there are executives. This is what happens time and time again.
Yeah,
executives that start feeling like, well, we know better because we've made the right choices and we've pushed.
But then look at they had Favreau do Iron Man 1 and 2, but then didn't want him for 3, and he was supposed to do Avengers originally, and they didn't want him.
Well, he quit 3.
Yeah, well, I mean,
or he says
he walked away,
he walked away complaining that Iron Man 2 was too much of a commercial for every other movie they were trying to create.
And also that they rushed his schedule, I thought, too, right?
They had,
So Marvel's they've got their fingers, their bejeweled Infinity Gauntlet fingers in the pot.
The more popular a franchise gets, the more people start.
But that's not all, Derek. If it was just one little Ant-Man thing, we could squash that. You see what I did there with it? Anyways, but there's other things that Marvel's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about. And actually, I'd like you to speak on this because you have a little more info, but I want to set it up. So this week, I believe it was this week or last week?
Well,
it was kind of within the week.
Which one are you
We're talking
about?
The Fox thing.
Oh, the Fox thing. That was last week. It kind of broke on Friday, so today's Monday.
So let me just tease a little bit. So now Marvel's excited about the... or actually fans are loving the Spider-Man movies, the X-Men movies, but the story is Marvel and Disney don't own those properties, correct?
well, they don't have the cinematic rights to Spider-Man. That belongs to Sony, and they had gotten Ghost Rider back because after 2 Ghost Rider films, Sony finally said, we give up. There's no way to do it. And then Fox owns the movie rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Okay.
And in a really bad deal, I will freely admit this, because back in the 80s, there was this huge fire sale for Marvel movie rights.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
A bunch of different people did that. And so there's a Fox deal with Fantastic Four that allowed for that. And there's a documentary coming about the making of
the Roger Corman
the Roger
film?
Corman version, which is was made only to retain the rights rather than let them revert.
So what's the controversy going on this
So
week?
the controversy is the rumor came out that, although I think there's a lot of credence to this rumor, that Marvel has basically decided to downplay, if not outright cancel, Fantastic Four comics. There's only 2 titles that bear the name Fantastic Four right now, in time for their 75th anniversary, because Fox is trying to ramp up a Fantastic Four reboot, movie reboot, which then if Marvel can kind of strangle all the cross promotional stuff, which I thought was an interesting theory, is that if there's no support in comics, if there's no support in a toy line, which the first 2 films from Fox were very heavily toy oriented.
But it also, too, if the movie does well, they're going to hold on to the rights. I mean, they're not going to let go of something that makes them money.
Absolutely.
So if Marvel sacks the property, doesn't support it, almost turns its back and ignores it, then I guess that's it's a play. It's a play for those rights.
Right, and then one of the other things as well is that with the Fantastic Four contract is that anybody who creates a character in the Fantastic Four, then Fox automatically gets the rights to that character, which is not good.
And this rumor comes from artists, and they I don't know if we've said, or the artist has remained anonymous, but they've sent memos out to different artists who were doing 75th anniversary
like trading
art
cards and so forth.
Promotional posters and stuff like that, and that actually instructed the artist, if you are drawing this poster or whatever, please omit any Fantastic Four characters or supporting characters such as Doctor Doom, Silver Surfer, and various things like that. So,
right, and so people claim that the argument against is that there is a recently relaunched Silver Surfer series, but Fox isn't looking to revive Silver Surfer. They're looking to revive Fantastic Four, and in today's world, the reality is, let's say Fantastic Four, the series, the comic book series, is selling maybe 40,000 copies a month. It's a decent selling book. It's well written by James Robinson. But the movie's going to be seen by 40 million people, and even if it's a bomb.
And look at something like X-Men just came out last week or the week before. Days of Future Past is, I think they found out today, it's the highest ranking one in the franchise. They've made.
I figured that I hadn't seen the final
I think it just
tally,
came out today. It made, I don't know, something billion, X amounts of dollars, and. So it's their most popular franchise. But then, was it Rob Liefeld who kind of suggested? Do you want to maybe?
I mean, I think it's absolutely right that he noticed that there are no toys. There's no cross promotion there. There isn't a toy line. Whereas even the last time because Marvel controls Toy Biz and has a license with
Hasbro, I think.
It's Hasbro now.
Yeah.
It was Toy Biz, and now they don't. Toy Biz, owned by Marvel, doesn't even make Marvel toys anymore. But Hasbro does, and they had released X-Men Origins Wolverine toys. But when the Wolverine came out, instead they released some of the characters, the comic book versions of those characters,
not the movie
in
versions.
Marvel Legends figures and so forth. So there hasn't been a separate Wolverine cross promotion. So that is interesting, because I can remember definitely all those X-Men action figures, and like I said, Fantastic Four definitely had all those, the movie tie-ins. My son had a Stretch Armstrong Mr. Fantastic that was
they for sure
Owen Griffith. So it's an interesting way of starving them out.
Right. And has this been since the Disney deal?
Yeah, although there's been bad blood between the Marvel owner Ike Perlmutter, who is now a majority stockholder at Disney as well.
Okay.
But
it's just shrewd business, is all it is.
Well, but they also have a better relationship with Sony. Now, there's a lot of rumors that Sony's trying to dump their movie arm, and so Marvel's staying friendly with them in case they can perhaps make a negotiation so that Spider-Man can be in the third Avengers film. Did you just? I know. I'm sorry. I should have warned you that was coming.
Actually, no. I'm a true blue Avengers guy, and my Avengers never had Spider-Man. But
everybody's Avengers now in the comics.
Everybody
does.
Avengers now does. But whatever.
Sorry.
Whatever's my Beast is always an Avenger to me before he was an X-Men. But that's just me. That's where I read comics.
All right.
Anyways, also it was announced just a couple days ago that the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy, the upcoming sci-fi Marvel movie that's coming out in August, they just cast their Thanos, which, for those of you in the know or didn't know, he was the villain at the stinger scene at the end of Avengers. Everybody's like, who's this big purple guy? That's Thanos. But that was played by just a no-name actor at that time.
I think his name was Damon Poitier.
I don't know. Nate's screaming at home watching
Yes,
us
I
right
know.
now.
It's no relation to Sidney Poitier. That's all I know. But he was just at
Big Wow.
At Big Wow.
But it was announced this week.
He's been replaced
by a real name, an Oscar Academy Award
he
nominee.
Could have been a real name.
James Brolin, Mrs. Barbara Streisand is going to be Thanos.
No, his father is Mrs. Barbara Streisand.
Oh. So
Josh Brolin.
Oh, Josh Brolin is going to be Thanos.
He was Mr. Diane Lane.
Oh, that's right. Oh, lucky man.
Yes.
So
Jonah Hex is now Thanos.
Ooh, I never thought about. Or what was the brother's name from the Goonies? He wasn't.
Yeah, he was in the Goonies too. Yeah,
Mikey was a little kid.
Thanos never say die.
Thanos
actually always say die.
Thanos is going to come out and go, "What? Hey, you guys!" or something. I don't know. But.
Good enough. Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Cyndi Lauper is doing the Guardians of the Galaxy theme song.
Yeah,
yes.
There you go. So.
But I just thought that was a weird announcement because the movie comes out in 2 months.
As far as I understand, his role is actually done. Like, it's probably whatever it's going to be is CG'd. He's voicing it.
He's just doing the voice.
But
from
I do
what
understand they wanted someone major because now they've got him locked in for a franchise. It's not going to end with Guardians of the Galaxy.
No,
He's very clearly going to be the end. Because I want to mention that Hasbro released a picture of their Comic-Con exclusive.
Yeah, I want one of those. Can you give me one of those?
No.
Please.
It's the Infinity Gauntlet
Please, Uncle
with
Derek.
action figures around it. And the only reason they're pushing that gauntlet is because that's exactly where the movie's going.
They teased the gauntlet in Thor, right?
They teased it in Thor. They teased it in...
all Avengers 3, we're predicting right now, is going to be the Infinity Gauntlet.
Right, because Loki had the heart gem.
That's the only way it's going.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing you can do. And then the last little piece of Marvel madness, and we have to wrap this up. Yeah. They were talking to Adam McKay to take over Ant-Man, so we're bringing it back around.
Right.
Adam McKay did Talladega Nights, is Will Ferrell's partner.
Anchorman.
Did Anchorman.
Yeah.
So comedy director. So they were talking to him.
He did The Wrong Guys, which was pretty well done.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I like that movie.
But also pretty good action. So.
Yeah. Okay. So he's a good director, proven director.
Yeah.
But apparently he went in. They were talking to him, and then he went out. Said he couldn't do it. So a lot of people were kind of thinking that maybe this project is just doomed. I'm not sure.
No. I think they're going to call you. I'm pretty sure they're going to call you.
I am an award-winning filmmaker.
Yes.
Rudy, can I get that title up? Thank you. So Marvel, if you're watching,
Rudy, could I get my title up? Yes.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Anyways, we got to move on to our next subject. But Marvel,
I was in your movie.
That's true. You were.
Yeah.
You've been in a couple of mine. You're a dear friend.
That sounded so Oscar phony. That was fantastic.
That's why Marvel needs to call me.
And a dear,
I can direct,
dear friend,
and act. All right, it's time to go to our next segment. Take it to the verses, boys. Yeah. Anyway, so then I was like, "Oh, we're on." Okay. So, Derek, an interesting, I guess he called it like a social experiment, happened in the last couple weeks.
We're all just rats in a maze.
Yeah, isn't that funny now? We're Google's experiment, we're Amazon's experiment. Everybody just wants to know how us humans react.
I'm being
Anyways,
experimented on right now.
I think we all are, because we want to bring you more.
I'm sorry, what?
On life. Okay.
Yes.
So,
I'm sorry.
like, can we go to our assistant segment producer? Oh, our segment producer,
Who's
Dave McGuire.
being experimented on?
You are
You are.
naive, Dave. All right. Talk about an Oscar-worthy performance.
No, that was real. That was a dim
Did
light
we see that
slowly
side
flickering
grin?
on.
That side.
No, No. I think that was that. That's actually a simper.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, we've got to move on. Anyways, last week in the news, there was I guess something was trending on Twitter in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area.
San Francisco specifically.
Specifically, there was a gentleman, a mysterious gentleman.
I will assume
say.
he's a gentleman.
Yes, who apparently the story goes did well in real estate, had a little extra cash, and was feeling.
He sold a house in the Bay Area,
Yeah,
and he found himself a billionaire.
One house, and he had
$1 billion.
And he had a little extra.
It was
cash.
a 2-bedroom fixer-upper.
Yeah, and he sold it for everything, all cash. And he basically decided to start this Twitter account called @HiddenCash, right?
Yeah, I think that is it.
And essentially what he was doing then after that was he was going to different locations in San Francisco and hiding cash. Dave, naive Dave, did you want to say something? Oh, I guess not.
I just wish that I had found the money.
Oh, all right. Well,
That's my 2 cents.
all
Carry
right,
on.
thank you, Dave.
I think what he is a frustrated screenwriter, because like every 20 years you have to have this like money rush wacky comedy in cinema. You know, it was like It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, and
Oh,
then
right.
it was Scavenger Hunt, and now it's
Hidden
it's
Cash.
at Hidden Cash.
Oh, I see the movie right
We're
now.
all going to be part of some kind of
Starring Cedric the Entertainer.
And what was that other? There was one just a few years ago
Rat
with
Race.
Rat Race. That's
yeah.
it. Yeah. So
Now, what you saw on the screen there, that fire hydrant, that was actually
That was
one
our
of
gentleman.
one of the envelopes. Basically, what he
disguise.
would do is he would go to different locations around San Francisco. He'd put an envelope taped and in full of cash, or an envelope full of small bills, but I think up to like $100 or so, and he would hide the envelopes on in the different locations, and then he would tweet different clues, kind of like your mom would do on a birthday or something. Like
Right.
to find the cash, look where there's ash, and you're like, whoa, it's in the fireplace, or something.
Your
Some
mom
stupid
sounds
like that.
so much more fun than mine.
Your parents didn't do that?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyways,
But to be fair, the envelopes are infected with smallpox.
well, I am part Native American. So, anyways, but yeah, so it did go from, it was a big deal in San Francisco,
Yes.
and then it even moved to the South Bay, so in San Jose, and the thing is, as the legend grew, people became more and more fanatical and crazy.
Yeah,
And then he took it down to Southern California and LA in different parts.
And nobody noticed.
No, they went nuts for it. They were on the news. People were fighting each other and going all crazy.
So it's a
and-
social experiment. I mean, that's the thing. What it's proven is we're ugly, venial creatures.
that need money.
Yeah. So if I had this kind of money, really, I mean, one, the Twitter thing tells you you've got to be connected and smart. Instead of like, actually, I was trying to do social good, and now maybe I'm naive.
See, that's the versus question. We were spending a lot of time on the story, but the story
Yeah.
is, if you were benevolent like that and had the cash and
I'd like to think I would be.
how would you be philanthropic and get rid of your cash? How would you do it?
Folks, we worked 10 minutes for him to pronounce that
It
word.
took a long time. I had to break it into parts. All right, go ahead.
Feeling phonetic. And so I just think that, I think a lot of people found the boost, but I'll bet a lot of people that probably beat out people that needed the money more. I'd be giving it to local organizations.
Would
that
you be
do
like
work.
Don Amici in Cocoon and just walk down the street and throw it behind you and let people go after it? Do you remember that scene?
I don't.
He
but
clears out his bank account because he's going away with the
Oh, yeah,
aliens,
yeah.
and he just starts throwing money over his shoulder.
That's nice and cool, but again, I just feel like there's so much real need in all three cities that he's hit so far. They could be better served by, I don't know, giving to whoever.
I'd make people fight for it. I think I'd have a tournament.
Lon Lopez's
Hunger Games.
cash
Hunger
fights.
Games, yeah. And then I would just.
But you're a jerk.
Oh, well, that's true. And money would go to my head, so I guess I would do that.
I mean, you'd make people fight for it after you made it rain. If you know what I'm saying. Okay.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I would have to give to some underprivileged ladies
Yeah.
that are down at the club. But they have children, and they're trying to go to school.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Can we get a shot of naive Dave nodding and believing that?
Dave, they are nice young women. They are nice. They are good. But I also think I'd do something crazy. Like, instead of hidden cash, I'd maybe strap one to, like, a hawk or a condor, you know? And then be like,
Raptor cash!
yeah, you want $200? It's the bird of prey. But anyways, yeah, so, yeah, I would like to give money away. Sure, why not? That would be great. Anyways, I think we've exhausted that topic.
I
What do
think
you
we have. I mean, well, there's nothing to say.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and go to our Geek of the
I'm
Week.
just stuck in
everybody.
falconry with money.
Anyways, our Geek of the Week this week is actually two. We've done this before, I think.
Yeah.
We have two geeks this week. And there was a major announcement, I believe, just today,
Yes.
that two new cast members have been added to the new Star Wars movie. I don't know why I'm
Episode
talking like that.
7.
Yes.
We still don't have a good title for it, but
No, what did Harry Nose call it? Dawn of Hope or Dawn? No, it's opposite of New Hope. So it's like an ancient fear or something like that, or
That's a supposed title.
Well,
what's
it's a
that?
rumor.
Naive Dave? We didn't hear him.
That's the supposed title.
Oh, okay, good job.
Okay.
Oh, he's so adorable.
We're going to be able to sell bobbleheads
I
really
think
soon.
so. We need T-shirts. Naive Dave.
Naive Dave bobbles. Yes!
That
T-shirt
happens. I've made it.
marketing! Anyway, yeah.
So who are these chicks, man?
We mentioned them.
Can we get a picture up there, Dave?
Yeah, we sure can.
So we got Lupita
Nyong'o,
Nyong'o.
who just won the Academy Award for her role in 12 Years a Slave.
God bless her. And then we also have Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones. She plays the big chick. And Brienne of Tarth, I think is what they call
She
her.
looks very different in that
She
photo
looks
than she does as
doable in
Brienne.
that one. No, that's awful. I'm sorry.
Oh, my
Horrible.
gosh.
She looks beautiful.
You know what? She is a highly trained Shakespearean actor.
And she's deadly with a sword. So
exactly.
I
put her as a
slap
Sith Lord.
myself. I slap
Put her
myself.
as a Sith Lord.
You know what I see her as, actually?
What?
An Imperial officer. Couldn't you see her like just standing and with the hat?
And I think in
the...
a certain segment, the slave Leia outfit is dead, and it would be her as the Imperial officer. There'd be a lot of cosplay for that.
Interesting.
Very empowering.
You know what? I also see, and look, what's her name? Lupita
Nyong'o.
Could you see her as? And I don't remember the race, but the
Twi'lek.
the Twi'lek with the things like that.
Double tentacles. Yeah.
I could kind of see her as one of them. What do you think?
I think it's been done. So I'd rather hope that they don't do that because we've seen enough of the female Twi'leks. Unless, of course, you were tying into the Clone Wars, the cartoon, because there's the Twi'lek, the girl.
Yeah,
I
the
always forget her
Jedi.
name.
Yeah.
The Jedi, because I don't.
I don't
watch
mean
the
as a
series.
slave. I mean as a Jedi or
No.
something.
But
yeah.
I don't remember the character's name.
I just don't want her to be a Calrissian. Okay.
I'd be really annoyed if everybody was a relation. It was bad enough in the prequel trilogy when everybody was like, "Oh, Yoda knew Chewbacca."
Right.
You know, but this is exciting because it brings a new diversity and really far more leading women's roles. That makes 4 in the episode 7, which is 3 more than the previous trilogy had.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. We have to wrap it up.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we are just right on the button. But yeah, so that was our show. Lupita Nyong'o and Gwendolyn Christie Nyong'o are our Geeks of the Week. We want to thank our director tonight, Rudy Loida, our segment producer, Naive Dave McGuire, and all of you for watching at home. So thanks for tuning in. This is Moron versus Fanboy. We'll see you next time.